Hey, welcome back to my channel. I am very happy to be making this video. I'm actually very ready to start making content again. I appreciate you guys respecting my need to kind of just chill last week. And by chilling, I still released a video and did a few live streams. So yeah, that's not much of a break, but it was greatly appreciated. And my video on Friday went way better than I could have ever expected or hoped for, and I appreciate that so much. I know that it's not something that everyone agrees with, but you guys were just so respectful of my choice and my recovery approach, and that is what I want. I want us to just love each other and respect each other and push each other to be better. I haven't found something like this until I came into YouTube, and I'm so glad that I did, because my recovery approach was working for me and for Greg, but it wasn't something that I shared or talked about, so I didn't have a community, and I was missing that. That was really holding me back, and my recovery just wasn't the fullest. It wasn't the best. It wasn't complete yet until I found you guys. So thank you for being part of this. Thank you for being here. And I kind of wanted to go into a little bit more detail about the things about some of the things I mentioned in the last video, really, and just kind of how I view recovery and what happened to get me here. Because there are definitely a few key events that really shaped or pushed me in one direction. Before I get into it, just leave me a comment and let me know what you want me to talk about next. Recovery, addiction, story times from then, or I could talk about jail, rehabilitation of felons, just prison, any of that, mental health, or whatever. I'm down to talk about whatever. I want to know if you guys have any questions. Is there anything that you want to know about addiction or recovery, or my approach to recovery, especially because I'm putting it out there, and I really feel like I haven't had anybody else be this vocal about it. I know that I'm not alone. I know that for a fact. I've met people and we've talked about it, and we share a very similar journey, but no one else is out there advocating for it or broadcasting it, because the number one complaint is that don't try and reinvent the wheel. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. I'm just trying to do whatever works for me. And it also happens to work for a bunch of other people too. So yeah, got off track. Leave me a comment, let me know what you want me to talk about. Ask me questions, please. And subscribe if you're new here. Definitely turn the bell notification on so that you can catch my videos, because your girl doesn't have an upload schedule. I know, we know. Let's start from the beginning. My addiction ended when I went to jail. And that was not by choice, obviously. Who chooses to go to jail? Well, I mean, I had to choose to turn myself in that day, so that sucked. But I was just kind of pushed into it, and I didn't want to do it on my own. I didn't have the courage. I was too afraid to ask for help. I didn't want to leave my lifestyle, because as much as I hated it and it consumed me, I still liked getting high. I was still very broken. I still had a lot of work to do, and the idea of stopping using for the rest of my life just scared me. I didn't want to do that. It wasn't so much that it scared me. Yeah, the detox was scary, but the idea of not using ever again was just too much. Why? Why can't I ever use again? Why can't I do this? Why is this so bad? Why is it black or white? And so it honestly took me going to jail for me to turn that page, and it sucked. It especially sucked because there was no help in there at all. So I was on work release. Had I stayed in general population the entire time, I could have attended AA meetings or NA meetings or met with the psychologist back there. The psychologist is overworked and underpaid, and they really are just there to make sure that you don't have a severe mental illness or that you're suicidal. But I don't know, there's no therapy, there's nobody to talk to. I don't even know if in AA or NA in there, if you can even get a sponsor. I don't know if you have time to work the program. I don't know any of that, because I didn't get to do it. I didn't have any chance, and that sucks. I was an addict. I went to jail. I detoxed for a week. I spent a month in the back in general population, and then I was put back on the streets to go to work in the hometown where I used. And no therapy, no medication, no one to talk to me about it. I had to do that all on my own, and that was hard. But it really showed me that I could do this. I can do this if I want to. If I decide to just make the right choice after the right choice after the right choice, I can do it. But it's very easy to not make the right choices. So I don't know, that sucked. Then I got out of jail and I started fucking off right away. I went to the bar, got day drunk, hooked up with Jake. It was bad. And that whole situation sucked. And on top of that, I was trying to define myself as a recovering addict because that's what I thought I had to be. I had to be labeled like that. There was no other way of me existing. If I met someone and started hanging out with them, I felt this overwhelming need to be like, I'm a recovering addict and I'm a felon and blah, 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 blah. Like, why? That's just a part of me. That's not who I am. That's a part of me. And that's the thing that really frustrates me. Like, yes, I call myself a recovering addict on here, so I do introduce myself as that, but I'm just a normal freaking person with a history. Don't we all have a history? I think so. So I was going to AA. No, I started at NA, and I had a couple bad experiences, and I'll just break them down for you because they truly made me think that the program itself was where I was having this issue. Like, the program was what was causing these situations for me. So let's see where to start. The first one would have been a very small group that met on a weekday in my church, my home church. And I went up there. I was on house arrest, so I was able to leave for these scheduled appointments. So like, I definitely took advantage of that, and I wanted to be there. I wanted to go, and I definitely wanted to get out of the house. So it was like a win-win. Well, I went to this meeting, and I didn't know much about the rules. I was learning, but they were asking questions and stuff, and so like, have you speak. Normally I would just be quiet because I don't know enough to feel comfortable to share or to say anything really, and I didn't want to be disrespectful or break the rules, and I did it anyway. So the girl running the meeting asked something, said something, and it triggered something in my mind. So my response referred to a book I was reading about addiction, and it's a great book. It's called Memoirs of an Addicted Brain by Mark something. He's a doctor. He's a neurosurgeon, actually, neuroscientist. Again, doesn't matter. It's a great book. I'll link it in the description. And she cut me off, didn't even let me finish my sentence, and was like, sorry, we don't allow outside literature. Like, just dead-faced. Didn't explain, didn't say anything aside from that. And I was like, bitch, what? Is this a cult? Like, that's weird. And it hurt me. Like, I was embarrassed. I felt like shamed because I didn't know. I didn't want to talk. You asked me a goddamn question. I answered, and then you cut me off like I'm an idiot. So it hurt, and I was not in a stable place. Like I said, I haven't done any therapy. I just started going to meetings. Like, it sucked, and I left, and I made stupid choices. I'm not happy about it. So I tried going to a couple more of those NA meetings, but then eventually my friend asked me to go to an AA meeting, and I was like, yeah, whatever. He said that they were better, that it was more mature, there was like less talk of like drug use and all this stuff. So I get there, and he said, just make sure you don't say you're an addict. And I'm like, what do you mean make sure I don't say I'm an addict? He's like, just don't say you're an addict. You're an alcoholic here. And I was like, but I'm not, I'm an addict. Like, I'm a poly drug user. And he said, Megan, just do it. So I was like, whatever. So I didn't say anything. I was pissed. It's like, why do I have to pretend to be something just to be here? Like, that's not cool. And I went in, I sat and I listened, and somebody else said they were an addict. And the way that they treated this person was just weird. Like, weird. Very judgmental, very, very shameful, very like, I hated it. I was very angry to be there, and I couldn't wait for that meeting to end, but I had to stay the whole time because I brought my friend there. So, sometime in that period, I got onto Suboxone. I had my slip, and I got on Suboxone, and I was coming up on my 1 year, and I had started attending an NA meeting in my area again on Sunday nights, and I got a sponsor. Like, I was actually doing this. I was meeting the sponsor on weekdays. Like, I was putting time in and working towards it, but it was my 1 year of sobriety coming up, and well, my slip happened, so that's beside the point. I didn't care. Like, that stuff didn't matter to me because I was like, I'm back in NA, I'm doing this, like, I'm putting my work in, I'm in therapy, like, I got this. And I go to the meeting, and I went to collect my 1 year chip. Now, like, it's not like I just walked into this meeting and was like, hey, I'm here for my year chip and leaving. Like, I had been there for a bit now, and they questioned me. Questioned if I had truly been clean for a year. And like, why? And it was actually not what I thought it was. I thought it was because of my slip. I thought maybe someone knew, maybe someone was judging me. Like, the details of that slip are just so, I don't want to get into it. I'll tell you in another video eventually, but like, that time was stupid. Technicalities, honestly, like, you'll understand later, just trust me. So it was actually because I was on Suboxone. because they didn't think I was truly clean. It had nothing to do with the slip, which they didn't know about, and I didn't say anything. It was because I told someone I was on Suboxone. And I felt like I had to lie in order to be at the meeting. And that's not cool. Why can't I just be here and take what I need and leave what I don't? I'm being respectful, and that's pretty much how I felt about 12-step programs for a while. I hated it. I did not want to go back. I was adamantly against it. And I had bought the big book and the other books while I was there and kind of read over them and stuff, and like it really didn't jive with me. And like, I don't know, a lot of it didn't jive with me, but I remember when I was in I went back to school for my bachelor's degree. So this is a couple years after like Suboxone, a couple years into my recovery. I'm sitting there and they say that the first antidepressant was introduced in the 50s, like as a mood stabilizer. 1950s. Like, the 12 steps were invented way before that. So, what? Like, why hasn't it changed? Why hasn't it been updated to like allow for these medications? And, we've gone so much further than antidepressants, but like still, all of that came after the 12 steps were started. So like, how can we still say that the founders would have believed that? Like, I don't know. It doesn't matter because it didn't fit for me. And I wanted to go in there and take what I needed and leave the rest. And that's what I truly did. I just stopped going to the meetings. I had the books. I just didn't go to the meetings. There are some really important principles and ideologies and just a lot in the whole 12-step programs that I think are very important for addicts to learn. I just hate the judgment. I hated it. And I've met so many amazing people that work programs now, and so many people that have invited me to go to meetings, and I've participated in online meetings, and my perspective about the 12-step programs has really changed, and I was really judging the program for the behaviors of a few people, and that's not right. But there were also aspects of the program that just don't jive with me. Clean and sober. That's not me. That's not something I strive to be. Not that that's a bad thing, that's a great thing. If you're clean and sober, like, by all means, that's amazing. Like, I'm proud of you. But I drink once in a while, and I don't see myself as clean and sober. It's been over a year since I've had a drink, but I still just don't identify with that. And representation matters. Like, if I can't truly, like, see myself as that person, I can't see myself as someone in a 12-step program, because it just doesn't work for me. And let's see, so I had completed psychotherapy at that point. I've actually completed psychotherapy numerous times. I did it once after I freshly got out with the Jake the Snake program. I completed psychotherapy after my divorce, before I moved down with Greg, once the cheating and everything erupted and all that hot mess. So like, I've done therapy a lot. That's the big part of my recovery. I've also pulled a little bit from my faith. Like, I have a church and a pastor. I'm not religious in the normal sense. Like, I love this pastor. I love him so much, and I love my family, so I go to church with them sometimes. And he has taught me so much, this specific pastor, like, about faith and love and altruism, and it really, really resonated with me, so I carry that stuff with me. I think altruism is such an important thing. Why can't we just be nice to other people to be nice? For no reason, to like get nothing out of it. Why we're just mean. Anyway, on top of that, I started my psychoeducation, aka I went to school for my bachelor's degree. And that taught me so much. It made me see so much. It made me realize that like really a lot of this is on me. And man, I get so confused with like, is addiction a disease or a choice? Like, it's both. It's both. It's not one or the other. It's both. And your ability to choose gets very restricted as your addiction progresses. But one time, my addiction doctor, my mentor, he explained the analogy for like cravings, what a craving feels like. So I'm gonna botch this up, but basically they took a person or a test. It was psychology students, and they were doing like a test on them. So they deprived them of water for like X amount of days, however many days, not to kill them, but to make them like really thirsty, like really ungodly thirsty. And they sat water in front of them, and like the water in their brain, like, this is to scale. So like the amount of craving that they had for water was like the size of like a basketball, I think. softball. It's small. Okay, we're just gonna go. It's a softball. That's what we're gonna say. And then they deprived someone of food for like even longer. And then when they measured like the amount of their craving in their brain, it was like the size of a watermelon. They did MRIs. Like, this isn't just like a hypothetical measurement. Like, the amount of brain activity in their brain when they put them compared to each other, it was like a baseball and a watermelon. So it's really big, like a really big craving for food. You know, they're starving, they're dying, like they feel like they're dying because they need it that badly. So then they took addicts and put them in the MRI and scanned their brain and scanned, Lord, talk, woman. Okay. Then they put addicts in an MRI and scanned their brain. Guys, I can't do this. Okay, they scanned their brains while deprived of drugs, and then they like showed images and like talked about drug use and all this stuff, and compared to, you know, water deprivation and food deprivation, the drug craving in the brain was the size of a baseball field. Can you think about that? Like, a baseball, a watermelon, a baseball field. Think about that size. That just explains everything. Like, that craving controls you. Have you ever just been hit with a craving so hard that you can't see straight? Like, you get like tunnel vision, it gets black and you can't do anything? Like, that's insane. Cravings are insane, and they are not a choice at that point. You have no choice. You have no willpower. That's why I like Matt, because that just gets rid of that. But anyway, so my psychoeducation was just so huge. I learned about cognitive distortions, and I learned about negative thought patterns and mindfulness, and just like CBT in general is a godsend, and it should be a part of recovery. And the last few years, I've like really kind of rounded out my recovery approach and realized that I don't have to be clean and sober. I don't have to be off of all drugs, honestly. I don't have to. I just have to be a better version of me. And I've defined that as not using opioids, not using dope at all, unless for pain. If that happens, like, I will go back that route, and then I will go back on Suboxone. Like, I know how to do it the correct way. And I don't want to do coke or meth or any of that stuff either. Like, that's my choice, but like, that's how I've defined it. That's what matters. That's all that matters. And learning that that is all that matters has been like so powerful. So what do I like think that you have to do in recovery? You have to really get honest with yourself, and that takes time and work and therapy. I can't do that for you, but I can kind of go over the things that I've done and learned, and this part sucks. I recently found a recovery approach or program online from this doctor, and it's amazing. It's perfect. It is literally everything that I've done and talked about and I preach about, and it's great. And it's Dr. Adi Jaffe, and he's got this book called The Abstinence Myth, and guys, it is everything that I've talked about. It really just teaches you how to you learn how to think again, and it's so powerful, and it costs a lot of money. And he justifies it because he doesn't make enough profit off of the program, and like, I respect your hustle, dude, but like, I don't think recovery should be something that makes you rich. I don't. I just genuinely don't. I want to do this as my life, as my career, and I am still trying to decide how I can do that ethically. I am thinking about becoming a recovery coach, actually. There's this training in Pennsylvania called a certified recovery specialist, and that's essentially someone that is like a drug and alcohol counselor without being like a licensed psychologist counselor with a master's degree. Now, this is like a certificate that you take in addition to other training and life experience, and you have to have a test and all that stuff. So that's a route that I want to go, and I will do that at some point. Right now, I can't because they don't have anything like within distance or reasonable distance from my house, and I don't have a car. And I'm not going to have a car for a while. We got our settlement, but Greg has to schedule his carpal tunnel surgery, and we just found out he has to pay $500 out of pocket for the test next week, and then he has an $800 deductible, and we just need to get his surgery done and see where we are financially before we try and buy a car. So I can't drive myself an hour to training every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. It won't work. So I am having to put that on a back burner for right now. They don't have any online training. I get that. Like, I think it's important that most of that should probably happen in person, but it could be over Skype or something. Like, that could work too. I would pay extra to do a one-on-one training. Like, shit, that would be amazing. I could learn so much. Ooh, that was a loud motorcycle. I don't know if you heard it. So from there, I have kind of evolved into thinking maybe I want to be a recovery coach. Hopefully she's a subscriber, but she commented that I would be a good recovery coach. And I didn't even know that was a thing, to be quite honest. I know what life coaches are and like relationship coaches and all of that stuff, productivity coaches. I just didn't know if you could be a recovery coach and be ethical. And I had to do a lot of research and soul searching about it. And I do believe that it's something that you can do ethically and should do, especially if you are not conventional like I am. I'm unconventional, and I am not afraid to speak about it, but I'm also very respectful of all approaches, and I think that all of them have value. And I think that's important. So, I don't know. I reached out to the Dr. Jaffe that runs Ignited Recovery because his program is so good and it needs to be mainstream, but it can't cost $1,500 because who's going to pay for that? And then he uses these like psychological manipulation tactics for sales, which they're grimy. So you probably see them a lot on the internet. You ever be browsing at something, maybe you're about to put it in your cart and you see something popped up that's like, Tom just bought this in Texas, or Sally just purchased this in Alaska. That's just prompting you to make you be like, ooh, I should get on this. This is good. What's going on? I want this. And then they have a countdown clock, a timer. You have 2 days for this sale, $500 off of the program. You only pay $1,000. Bitch, I ain't got $1,000. Come on. Like, I don't have that. And then, so after that, I didn't sign up for it. And then they offered me the first 2 modules of like the 11 module program, or 13 maybe, I don't know, for $25 a month. Which is, I signed up for it, and it's exactly what I wanted and hoped it would be, and I can't afford the rest. So I told him, I DM'd him on Instagram, and I'm like, dude, you have something powerful that can change the freaking game out here, and you're keeping it to yourself? Recovery is not exclusive. This needs to be inclusive, guys. This needs to be accessible by everybody, because literally the old ways aren't working for everyone. They work for a good bit of people, and that's amazing, but when they don't work, when they fail, when someone fails, when they just give up, the consequences are freaking lethal. Why? It's heartbreaking. So I've been trying to think about ways that I can make this a career or something sustainable so that I can dedicate more time to it. Maybe not have to work full-time outside of this too. That's like a goal long term. My real goal is to provide you with something valuable, something that can help you, and I want to be able to dedicate a lot of myself and my time and my energy into that. I'm not asking or expecting to up my production game. I do this on my phone. I got a teeny tiny little ring light that sits around it. I have lights and a mic, and that's good. It works great. I love this. I want to up the value of what I'm giving you. And I think that it shouldn't be something that you have to pay for. Eventually, I would like to be able to offer you something like that, though, like a book, like an ebook, or worksheets, or I don't know. I want to do something. I haven't figured it out, but making money off of recovery is not cool unless you're genuinely helping and giving most of it for free. Because literally, there are enough books and programs and meetings and stuff that don't cost any money. Well, books cost money, but you know what I mean. You can probably find it online in a blog for free. And you should be able to have a career in this, though. You should be able to become a recovery coach or a certified recovery specialist. But you have to earn that. You have to go to school and get training and certification, and that costs money, so that takes time. But I do think that it is ethical to be able to make this into a career, and I want to do that. I want to be here to help you guys. I want to share my story. I am so freaking passionate about this. I want to share Brent's story, and I want to change lives. And you guys have blessed me so much just by listening to me, and it is such an amazing and wonderful experience, and I'm so grateful. And I want to keep going. I want to do bigger things. I want to do more recovery events. I got asked to speak in a recovery event for next June. That's so exciting. I'm trying to get into the local high schools to share my story, and the angle I want to do is I never said no, and that's important. I never said no, and I ended up on dope, in jail, married to a Marine across the country. What? Literally, because sometimes I just don't say no to things that I should have. And it snowballs, and that's the story of my life. But I can tell you that story about how I ended up married to a Marine because I didn't say no. I think that stuff's important. I'm possibly meeting with the mayor of my town to educate her about Matt and addiction recovery. I'm networking and I'm meeting people and I'm talking, and I'm not afraid to share my opinion or be judged or shamed for it, because I don't feel any shame over it. I am proud and I am stable and I'm certain that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And it's a good feeling, guys. I have never felt like this before. And I really owe it to you. I owe it to you guys so much. Like, I just want to give you as much as you've given me. Speaking of, I got this amazing gift from one of my subscribers. She sent it to my P.O. box, and it was like, it warmed my heart. She made me handmade cards and wrote me a handmade letter. She gave stickers to Emerson and this little like poem on a poster. It was great. And like that message, like my mom read it, and my mom's been a little questionable about my YouTube choices. You know, she doesn't quite understand it, and she's starting to. She's starting to see the value in this, the value in me being so vulnerable and open. It's cool. Doors are opening, guys. Another door opened that I can't wait to tell you about, but that one will have to wait. I'm an official YouTuber now, right? Something big is happening, but I can't tell you about it. But I mean that. That's real. So I guess I'm official. All right. This is kind of long. Holy crap, this is a super long video. I was just talking. Well, if you've made it to the end, I genuinely appreciate you. Leave me a heart. Yeah, just a heart. Because every time I say a color, you guys are like, I can't do black hearts. So just leave me hearts. Leave a crap ton of hearts in the comments. And I will see you guys in the next video. Stay safe. That's Jess's. Stay safe, stay sober. Stay up, stay strong, stay alive. Bye.